Welcome to Season 3 of Sailing Sitka. I'm Kenna, and this is Jay. We live aboard our 1976 Choi Lee sailboat named Sitka, in which we have sailed south from Canada in 2022 to the very last port of Mexico. This season, we are finally exiting Mexico and taking our boat further through the Panama Canal and into the beautiful Central American waters. So hit that subscribe button and follow along, as this season we are sailing as far and wide as possible. You guys you make this happen, and we couldn't do it without you. So thank you so much for tuning in to this week's episode of Sailing Sitka, and I hope you enjoy. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to this episode of Sailing Sitka, the one where we are exiting Costa Rica and sailing to Panama. So we just lifted the hook, and earlier for 2 hours we did the whole checkout process. It was extremely easy. Costa Rica has it pretty figured out here. We did immigration, customs, we also did the port captain, and then you also have to go to the bank and pay a $25 USD exit fee. And now we are back on Sitka, and we have lifted the hook, and we are already transiting here to get out of this bay. And we just passed a giant cargo ship filled with mega yachts, which is an insane thing to see. Like, some of those boats are like 50, 60 feet on there. It's wild. So Costa Rica, Golfito specifically, we are going to miss very, very much. We wish we had a longer period where we could stay here, but leaving when you still love a place is always good. And Golfito is definitely one of those places for us. It has everything. So if you are thinking of cruising to Costa Rica, we highly suggest it. It has been so wonderful to us, and we couldn't be more grateful. Let us know in the comments below if you've sailed here or if you've traveled here, what your favorite part of Costa Rica was, and let us know if you're also going to Panama, because we're very excited to be going to a new country. So yeah, bye-bye to the flattest bay on planet Earth, I think, and hitting the high seas. So an overnighter will be getting there tomorrow, and we're gonna be filming it all for you guys. So make sure you subscribe, like, comment, all the wonderful things, and we super appreciate you guys. I hope you enjoyed this episode. What happened?
What happening?
What happening?
What happening is a fish.
You seem more excited.
Yeah, but it doesn't look big. It's like I'm able to pull it, like it's not fighting much.
If skipjacks followed us down here, I'll die.
I don't think it's
Probably a skipjack.
What if it's just like a really perfect baby tuna?
Could be sick. Could be a snapper too.
Is that a it's a skip!
Is it a skip?
Yes!
No.
Blue bloody stripes on it. You serious right now? For those of you who are confused, or maybe just joining our adventure now, we are not the biggest fans of skipjacks, as we've eaten and caught our fair share up in the Sea of Cortez. To us, the taste is not worth the time and effort of filleting, and or the space it would take up in our freezer. If we were in dire need of food, we may have kept it, but considering that we are fully provisioned, we tossed this little guy back, as we usually do when we snag skipjacks, and continued trolling our line for hopefully a tastier fish to come along. Lo and behold, it was the right call to make. Again,
Hopefully this time's a yellow fin.
to those of you wondering why Jay's wearing gloves,
I got literally fresh and tattoos like from a day and a half, 2 days ago now. We got tattooed on the boat. You've probably seen this in the previous episode. But yeah, we had a fellow sailor from Spain, well, from the Canary Islands, not Spain. They don't like to be referred to as from Spain. Yeah, she was nice enough to come tattoo us on the boat, which was super rad. So yeah, but right now I got fresh ink on my hands. It's not very smart, by the way, if you're sailing. But when are you gonna say you got tattooed on your sailboat at anchor by another sailor? It's a yellowfin.
it's a yellowfin!
It's a yellowfin.
Fucking A.
of the freaking season. First fish of season 3. Feels so good. Just a tiny little yellowfin, which is gonna be so delicious. We're gonna make sushi rolls, spicy tuna sushi rolls, when we get to our anchorage in Panama. And I wanna give a shout out to a very special person. We caught this fish specifically for you. My papa, I love you so much. My papa is the best, and he's an amazing fisherman. And he's really sick right now, but I wanted to catch a fish for him to hope he feels better. So I love you very much, Papa, and that one was for you. I'm sure it's gonna be very tasty, but yeah, very exciting stuff. First fish of season 3, woo!
Why are you wearing boots on? Bye bye Costa Rica! Hello Panama! The point of land over there, I don't know if you see it, it's like a little island that's kind of connected to the mainland by a tiny little point that low tide is actually out of the water. But on that point, it's actually the split between Costa Rica and then Panama on the other side. We're just starting to have a little bit of wind from the direction it was predicted to be. So we're still just motor sailing right now with the main and the engine, which has been kind of the classic go-to here. I mean, we had 2 sails that were pretty good. Anyways, making a decent time now. Earlier it was quite slow. We were only going like 3 knots, 3.5 knots. There was like wind on our nose, a little bit of wind, maybe like 6-7 knots, but also tide and current against us. But now we are out of the mouth of the harbor, which the mouth of the harbor is like that point to that other point over there. And yeah, now it's opened up right wide here. And sunset to the west. And once we turn that point, we're going straight east again. But yeah, tiny bit of wind. Most of it is us creating it right now as we're motoring at like 5.5, 6. So there's probably maybe, I don't know, 8 knots of true wind right now, maybe, if that. So not enough to sail, sadly, but we'll see. Maybe it'll pick up a bit. I didn't put the hydrovane in. Normally I do for overnights, but I didn't really want to put my 2 hands in the salt water with fresh tattoos, and looked at the wind prediction and it wasn't that great, so I figured we were probably gonna have to motor. And when we motor, well, we have tons of electricity, so we have the autopilot on, and if we're motoring we can't have the wind vane either. The wind vane only works if you're sailing. Pretty nice, pretty uneventful, apart from we got our first yellowfin season ever. Our first yellowfin tuna, not only of the season but ever on Sitka. Pretty exciting stuff. They're delicious, so we're already excited about our dinner tomorrow night. We're gonna make some nice spicy tuna rolls. So filleted it, and now it's in the fridge, and we'll prep that tomorrow. Kind of makes great rolls. Last time we had sushi rolls was when Harry was here, I think, wasn't it? Yeah, when we caught that big ass tuna, that big old big eye tuna off the Oregon coast, right before we fucked our spreader up. So yeah. Hola! Alright, well, things change quite a bit out here. So now we've made our turn. We got wind coming from our port quarter here, and turned the engine off because we had to slow ourselves down anyways. But with just the, here, I'll light this up. With just the Genoa, full Genoa out. I wish we had the pole out, but we don't really have it. But when there's no waves, it's pretty good, and we're going like 3.5 to 4 knots. So that's perfect. And hopefully this wind stays with us all night. That way we're saving some fuel, and it's quiet. The only thing is we don't have the hydrovane in, so it's the autopilot steering right now, so I got to keep an eye on the batteries. But because we're not in big seas, it doesn't seem to be taking that much power right now. So I just shut everything off down there, like all the fans and all the extra shit that's on. Because when we motor, we charge stuff, but now we're not charging anything. Come on, sail, don't go crazy on us now. There we go. Let's hope it sticks.
Before leaving Mexico, I wondered if we'd be able to distinctly tell the difference sailing from one Central American country to the next. And the answer was more clear than ever the morning that we entered Panamanian waters. It's like we sailed into a whole other world, one filled with desolate tiny islands, consisting of nothing but white sandy beaches and tall standing palm trees. Nothing like we've ever seen in either Nicaragua or Costa Rica. We were simply in awe of this new area of the world that we've sailed into.
Very different topography to what we're used to. Got a bunch of chain of islands on either side of us here. And we're just threading the needle in between. Got about 4.5 miles to go this way before we make our turn to port and then head to Isla Gámez, which is basically a sand spit type of island. Seems to be anyways on the chart. And then we'll be anchoring there. So we had a time change last night. So at 8 p.m. it became at 9 p.m. So we lost an hour. So we are now on the same time as Quebec, my hometown back home. So that's because we keep on going east. And yeah, normally we have first light at like 5:30, but now it's more like 6:30. And we're motoring like at like 4 knots. We're at 1200 RPM. I want to save fuel because there's not a lot of wind out here, and we have to motor a lot, and we still have like 300 miles to go. So before Panama City, and I don't think there's anywhere to get fuel, not from what I can see anyways on the charts, not without having to check in. And the only check-in place is like 200 miles away from here, and it's up a river, and it takes like multiple days to check in because it's not really an official check-in port. So anyways, we're gonna try to avoid that. Dolphins are escorting us through the islands. I don't know where they went. I was trying to film them for you guys, but sometimes they just come for a quick cuckoo. Oh, there they are. Hard to see, but he's right there. Look at him. He's escorting us.
Good morning from the Pacific coast of Panama. It's a little after 7 a.m. We did a time jump, so we are 1 hour more ahead than Costa Rica. And you guys, going through these little islands, it is amazing. It's stunning. Very excited to drop the hook and make some fresh tuna rolls and enjoy this beautiful country and probably have a nap. We appreciate you guys for watching so much. Make sure you like, subscribe, and comment. And thanks for being along for the journey.
Just like that, we arrived to our first port in Panama, a small island known as Gámez, which we would call home for the next few days. Shortly after dropping the hook, we were accompanied by a local fishing vessel and their crew. So now, from what we could see, it was just us two boats surrounded by an array of tiny green islands. Not long after, we rowed into shore. Normally, we would put the outboard on the dinghy, but here there was no need to. We were just that close to our own little beach. We set up shop and spent the early afternoon lounging around and enjoying this picturesque and perfect spot here at Isla Gámez. Back at the boat, it was the moment that the crew has been waiting for since yesterday's morning catch. It was sushi time aboard Sitka, both Jay's and my favorite meal to enjoy, especially from scratch. I started by making the sticky rice and waited for it to cool before gently applying it to my seaweed paper. It's a very suiting meal to have aboard our boat, considering she was built and made in the Choi Lee shipyard in Hong Kong back in 1976. After adding thinly sliced cucumber, I topped it off with our main ingredient, delicious yellowfin tuna that has been marinating in spicy mayo for a good chunk of the day. I wet the paper on one end with water so that when I roll it over tightly, it has an edge to stick to. After repeating this process over and over until we were fresh out of fish, I cut up the rolls into pieces to be eaten and enjoyed by our crew aboard Sitka. If you ask me, it's not a bad way to end our first day here in beautiful Panama. Feeling extra grateful to be here.
Alright guys, you're probably wondering why I'm even bothering fixing this stupid ram mount instead of just like not dealing with that, because you've probably seen us in a previous episode tell you guys that the chart plotter was broken. Well, today, which is weeks later, turned it on and then everything seemed to work. The zoom in and out was working. I was able to go into brightness, adjust it. It wasn't putting waypoints everywhere. The ship position uploaded. So everything seemed to work. So I was like, okay, that's good. And then played around with it for about 10 minutes and nothing seemed wonky. So I was like, great. So now I was like, okay, well, let's now begin the process of fixing that mount so we can actually use the chart plotter. We're obviously going to buy another mount, another ram mount. But right now we're not somewhere we can get one of those. We're literally on a deserted island. But it'd be nice to have, especially for the Panama Canal and stuff, on the way in to have the charts up, because there is tons of navigational hazards on our way. There's islands everywhere, there's like reefs everywhere, so having the charts right there at the helm, especially when it's raining and you don't want to manipulate your phone, is going to be useful. So that's why we're doing that.
Especially because we bought $500 worth of the charts.
Yeah, we also bought like the brand new charts for the entire Caribbean Sea from everywhere south of Mexico on the both Pacific and Atlantic side. So like it'd be nice to use the charts at the helm.
Yeah.
And have our boat speed and not have to always go on our phones, because that's powered by the ship's batteries. So it's not like you always have to like, yeah, it's nice. It's nice. So I tried a batch of quick epoxy, those little syringe thing, and that didn't really kick. Like it was an old one that was already open, so it kicked, but not enough. Like I just put the mount on and just completely came off. So I sanded it down. And now I mixed some West System, which you just saw me do, with some 403, which is the gluing compound from West System. And we'll let that cure all night. And then tomorrow morning before we set sail, if it's cured, we'll put the ram mount on and hopefully it's solid enough. If I feel it being wonky, we're not going to put it on. We're just going to keep it so it doesn't get banged around again until we get a mount. But that's the plan, Stan.
You heard the captain. Tomorrow we are sailing off to explore a little bit more of these isolated islands before taking off and sailing to Panama City. That, of course, will all be on next week's episode, so make sure you are subscribed so you don't miss out. We want to make note that you guys are absolutely loving the word of the week in the last couple episodes, so let's keep that up, shall we? It really helps pump our videos out there and show us just who sticks around to the end of each video so we can thank you personally for watching. I think the most suiting word for this week's video should be tuna. Comment that word down below or tell us a story about when you've eaten or caught yourself a tuna as well. As per usual, thanks for watching, and we'll see you all next week. Thank you for watching this week's episode of Sailing Sitka. Stick around for more to come. If you enjoyed, please spread the love and let us know. Special thank you to our Patreon members for making these videos possible, as well as helping our dreams come true. See you all next week.